Dun 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 dun. Just kidding. Welcome back. We have another video here for you today. One I've been thinking about how to do. Excuse while I adjust the screen for this type of video. I have to get all set up just right because we are going Demko in a big way today. So let's get into it. This whole video is based on what I'll call the niche part of the Demko AD20X. And I mean AD20, AD20S, AD20.5, although it's really AD20S and AD20 lineup. And there are a number of these that have no slot. And I'm going to go to my most original one here, which is a 3V, which is one of Andrew Demko's favorite steels, and give an example of that. And why I think this is interesting is because it's not necessarily the aesthetic of choice. I think there's a reason they have the slot in the knives. I think they look great. It's almost like a broader appeal, even though traditionally most of our knives don't have a slot in them. But you'll see here is that this is one of these original Demko AD20 full sizes. You can see kind of by the thickness of the blade there, that's a full size. And if I get the light just right there, you can see 3V blade steel, hand etched. And if you come inside here, you're going to either see, a 17-4 pH, which is the material used for the shark lock. I didn't know that in my last video when I did it. Someone gave me a nice comment and let me know what that was. And this is, for a lot of people that have been following Demko for a long time, very representative of the epitome of Demko. They're used to an AD10 or an AD15 that doesn't have a slot in it. And when this first came out, they were slotted, I believe, even in the very early ones, but there were some versions that were released without a slot. And I don't really know the history on why they did one versus the other, to be honest. But I thought it'd be interesting to spend some time talking about the ones that I found in this kind of niche-y, unique part of the Demko lineup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these over first because I thought it'd be kind of cool to show you the difference in the boxes. So you can see the difference of the more old school Demko AD20 boxes. They ended up switching these to these boxes later on, and you'll only see those boxes on the AD20S. There may be some one-offs here and there, but for the most part. And then you're also going to see some of these AD20S boxes have made in the USA with both foreign and domestic parts. Last I heard, that was only the shark lock that was made overseas for a few of these, but they're all, generally made in the US and assembled in the US and so on, ground in the US on the blade and all that. But I thought that'd be kind of neat to just share with you some of the box nuances. Some of them have no stickers. As you can see, they were probably sold at like Blade Show or one of the custom knife shows or something like that. And then some of them were sold through dealers, in which case they needed some, some sort of tracking. There are probably some that went through dealers that didn't have tracking like this, but for the most part, they'll have stickers on them. This looks like maybe the sticker was taken off even. So let's get into the knives. And I was not able to do this on my all Demko video collection because I just thought there's so many knives. It was going to take so long to unbox them. And you really do have to be careful when you're unboxing these. These boxes are not, I'm not going to say that they're bad boxes, but they're not great boxes. And they're not really meant for the knife to be taken in and out of frequently. Definitely not designed for, you can see almost, I'd say half the ones that I've bought, people have torn the box. I think I have even torn one myself, not carefully opening one, which isn't bad given how many I've had. But let's get some of these boxes out of the way here. And first, we're going to start with the AD20 lineup. I think last time I did AD20 last, so I'll do AD20 first this time. So I've been able to track down two titanium ones. Now you can see the shark lock's even a different color here, which is kind of interesting. The first one was this 3V one, and the second one was a 20 CV one. And you almost, oh no, this one's a crew wear one. I apologize. This one's a crew wear one. I also have a very old 20 CV, but that one's slotted. So a crew wear one. So put that right here. What I have to make sure, by the way, is that any two knives that look alike, if the boxes aren't labeled, I think almost all of them, at least one of the boxes is labeled, so I'm good, but I try and keep things very original. So This next one you can see was sold by Knife Joy. One of the things I'll also talk about in here is, you know, like different blade steels versus the vendors. Knife Joy has done some really nice blade steels. This particular one is 20 CV. Let's see if I can get the light on there for you. So a 20 CV hand etched in an OD green. This is a pretty old one. I think they've made the OD green either darker or maybe it's just because this one was you know, a G10. I don't know. My only other OD greens are Gryvery, so I'm not 100% sure. Maybe the material just takes the dye differently, but it's the same dye. Sorry, I gotta keep things pretty organized over here, so bear with me as I go through here. This next one, again, not labeled on the box. This one just sold, actually, one of the viewers. This is a brand new one I just got, but one of the viewers decided that he wanted it, and we worked out an opportunity for him to buy it. So this one's CPM 20 CV, and now you can see we're into a generation newer, but they were still doing a no slot, so that's kind of interesting to me. I wasn't sure if maybe this was just something they did for a while and then they stopped doing, but they've actually even released some knives in the past couple of months that had no slot during one of the drops. So it's one of those things when you're shopping, make sure you notice that when you're buying it. Promise that's not a bong sound, that's my water bottle. So let me go ahead and set this box in the right place. This one's like brand new. That box was really nicely taken care of. Here's a Clip Point Crewwear Black G10. So that's a pretty cool one. I am struggling to remember where I got this one, actually. It's slipping my mind. This one also has Crewwear written on there. So these, you know, Crewwear versus 20 CV, very different. I'd say the Crewwear is, you know, much more similar to the 3V variant, but again, no slot, full size AD20. And then this is the last of the AD20s I was able to track down. I have the wrong box for this one. The seller, by mistake, gave me the wrong box, which admittedly and embarrassingly, I kind of went down a rabbit hole thinking maybe I'd gotten some sort of weird knife or something like that, but it just turned out he had put the knife in the wrong box, and that was my bad. Well, I guess it's bad for putting the knife in the wrong box. But this one's really cool, and I don't know that I've ever seen another carbon fiber swedge. So they had something called enhanced. So this one's an 80/20 carbon fiber, no slot, enhanced with the swedge. And you can actually see the finish seems like a little more reflective on this one to me than other ones that I've had. And this one again has Crewwear. This one's hand etched. So that's a really cool one. This one was sold at, I want to say, in CKS. I think that one was North Carolina, the North Carolina show. Moving along, we're going to start over here on the AD20S pile. This one was sold to me. It actually had some original goat scales on it, but is a D2 no slot in orange G10. All the D2 ones are AD20S, so those are always going to be laser etched on there, because the AD20S, I personally haven't seen one with a not laser, with a, you know, like a hand etched blade steel at the top. Bear with me, I'm just gonna make sure I keep my boxes straight here. So this one's gonna go over here. And then this one labeled properly, Demko MG AD20S S45EN Sharkfoot carbon fiber with no slot. And I had not seen another one like this either when I saw this one pop up. So I grabbed it. Really cool. Really, really cool. Again, like, if you ask me my personal, like, aesthetic preference, I'd prefer to have a slot in it. As an example, here's one. And I actually think it looks a little more balanced and cool. I like this look a lot. Plus, you know, it's functional. You can use it during your deployment. You can get a little better purchase for your reverse flick and stuff. So I really like the slot. I really like the slotted version, but it's quirky and cool. And it's like you got this cool advanced carbon fiber, but then you got the quirky, like, no slot. That's just fun to me. I really enjoy stuff like that. So let me get this box over here. The next one is also really cool. Same seller. This guy he also sold me this one. He keeps his boxes really nice, which I appreciate. And this is an Almanac all-tie smooth. So all-tie means non-milled. There are milled and non-milled titanium handles. And this one has a non-milled. So it's a hefty little knife, no slot taken out. Like, this thing has some heft to it. I think it's like 7.75 ounces or something like that. And it is an absolute beast. And that one looks really cool to me, actually. Like, of all the no slots, I think that one looks best because you have this like cool continuity of stone washed finish that just looks really nice to me. Because you just have those little flakes all the way from the handle. Let me see if I can get it better. All the way from the handle through the blade steel. And it just feels like this tool, this like one piece of, you know, continuous metal. So I actually like the way this one looks more than the other no slots. That's a cool looking knife to me. Still, again, prefer the no slot, to be honest. But this one actually has like a pretty close, this one's a close second to me versus the slotted version. So you can decide for yourself there. All right, let's keep going. That's a really nice one though. I'm thrilled to have found that one. Excuse me. All right, and sorry again, I'm kind of losing my voice today, so I'm gonna be drinking some water throughout the video. When you start seeing the made with foreign parts, it will either be it'll be a D2 model, either G10 or Grivery, usually Grivery. But once in a while, you'll find one like this. And this one was also harder to come by. I'm not gonna say it's super hard to come by, but harder, because can you tell the difference right away? Maybe, maybe not. Clip point AD20S. So if you're not believing me that that's an AD20S, because you're like, I don't do clip points in AD20S, which I have heard people say, now tell me that that's not possible. So you can see the difference in blade stock thickness there, in jimping, and of course an overall weight. Let me carefully put this guy back in here. Yeah, and that's a really cool one to have gotten a clip point. You know, I just realized I am missing a knife here that I'm pretty sure has no slot. Hang on one sec. I think that was a shark foot. Where is it? All right, we're gonna keep moving along, and it may actually be here. Maybe this is it. I just realized I think I do have it. So let's get this guy open. There it is. I don't know what I was thinking. I had it right in front of me. And this is another one, another clip point AD20S. Again, pretty rare variant coming in here in the camo. And the camo is really cool. I love when I'm doing these videos during the day on the weekend. I try to do the Demko camo videos on the weekend because I'll do them during the day, whereas I have to do them at night during the week after work and after the kids to bed. But you can see it has actually the natural G10 showing through. And you get that translucence. Where's my flashlight? I was playing around with this because I got a full natural G10 yesterday. Yeah, full natural G10. But how wild is that? It's pretty freaking cool. Pretty cool stuff. You almost wish it was like glow in the dark or something. It's not, but pretty neat how it sort of shows through there. So that's a really cool one that I'm glad to have tracked down. I may actually be letting one of these two go. I'm kind of like, which one do I keep? So we'll see how that all plays out. But yeah, let me just go ahead and get this together here. Trying to keep all my boxes straight, so sorry for the extra time it's taken on the video. And last but not least, in fact, first in a lot of ways, this is the first Demko AD20S that I ever got. and it is in a Grivery, because you can see the landing patch here. It doesn't say 80/20.5 like the Grivery version. I'm sorry, it doesn't say, yeah, 80/20.5 like the Grivery version of the 80/20.5. And you don't have the Demko written on the blade because it's made in the US. But you have that landing pad that is characteristic of their Grivery model. D2. So all three of these are D2. I don't know if I mentioned that along the way, but all three of these ones are going to be D2, no slot as well. So boom, boom, boom. And that is my current no slot film. I mean, I've sold one or two over time that had no slot. So I have had a couple more. At one point or another, I had let Jeff, one of the great collectors, a lot of people know who Jeff is, I won't say a last name, but one of the big time Demko collectors, get a gray one that I had, and I think I sold one other in another color, maybe orange or something, but I could be wrong. So just kind of going back through, AD20S, no slot variants, AD20, no slot variants. And now I'm going to attempt to put them out here with the blades out and see if we can fit it on the table. I think I got the camera set up to do it, but we'll see for sure in a second. Because what would be the point of doing a no slot video and then not actually being able to see the knife blades? Maybe I'll even take the camera off the tripod. And do notice, by the way, the clip points are a little bit longer. It's not quite a 1/4 inch, but oh, I see the videos kind of coming in this way. So let me pull these back a little. This is gonna be a little tough to fit. We'll see how it goes. All right, now we'll do the 80/20 full sizes. And if you're hearing laughing in the background, we have a sitter over today for my wife and I to have a little personal time. We went out and grabbed a tasty brunch, and now we are grabbing a little personal time to take care of things. And one of the things I need to take care of is doing this video so that I can let a couple of these go, because it's time. I started collecting some other knives outside of Demko that are also expensive, and time to let some other folks enjoy these really cool knives. So it looks like I'm not quite going to be able to fit it without overlapping a little bit, so cringe as you will. There we go. I think that's about as tight as I can make it while getting everything on here. So, all right, let me stand up and really get a good view at what we got here. 3 in tie, a lot of G10, one Grivery, but there were quite a few of the no slots done in Grivery. Like a Grivery D2 AD20S like this is not uncommon. You can definitely find some of these if that's what you're looking for. They, I think, were originally $275 back in early 2021. Now they're $350 or something like that table price. On the market, if it's really well used, it might sell for like $300 to $350, but it's generally going to be in the $350 to $500 range, depending where you buy it. Going up to the top right, that knife, has had a pretty varied history. I've seen those sold for upward of $2,000 or more. They're a little easier to get now. I don't know if they'd say easier, but they're not as ridiculous. I think because some of the knives in the market have, made an impact or whatever, but those aren't as, they've made more of them. They're not as crazy to get. You can get them now for like low 1000s, somewhere in that range. Something like this is going to probably run you in the, 600. This is the 80/20 and G10, 600 to 1200 range, depending if it's, older or younger and what color it has and stuff and who's selling it, where it's selling. Something like that, I don't know. I've never seen another one sold. I just know that I got it. So I don't want to try and make an assessment because there's not a lot of full-size 80/20s in carbon fiber out there. And you add in the enhancement and it's kind of a one-off. So hard to say what that might sell for. The camo is, interesting. I think camo and OD green, you either love them or hate them. I don't know if that's quite the right term. Especially with camo, you probably either love it or hate it. I'm like one of the few people I think that sometimes likes it. I have like 4 knives in camo, and just in the right knife in the right situation. Some Spydercos and some Demkos. I like it. Not many others that I'm a big fan on it. There's a Strider or two that I thought were kind of cool and like a similar kind of pattern. I don't know if it was camo, but Battleship, I think they call it. But kind of more of a pattern handle. You know, when I've seen people messaging or talking about the no slot, I think some of the old school Demko people really like it because, you know, they're 80-20-10s and they're 80-20-15s. When they think of Demko, they think hard, robust knife, you know, and to put I've even seen a guy comment, you know, putting a slot in a hard use knife doesn't make sense to me. Cutting a big hole in a hard use knife doesn't make sense to me. You know, I don't teach their own, but I try not to have like a strong opinion on it. I'm just trying to bring the information here that these are out there and it might be something that you're interested in. If I were to rearrange this, by the way, because this is how my mind works, I'd go like that and put the titanium to kind of line up with the titanium. And I'd put this right here to start off the D2 crowd as you're coming down here. But yeah, it's a really interesting little niche of the Demko AD20 and AD20S, you know, I guess inventory that's out there, or variations, you know, there are just a bunch of different variations of these. And I think it's a really cool little, maybe even call it quirky, but a cool little nook or niche of the, you know, the Demko family. And it got me collecting them over the last couple months, and, you know, wanted to do a video that this existed and try and, again, bring out a little bit of education on what's out there in the market, because I think this is a really neat little part of what's been done. And I'm excited to see what's to come next. There's some really cool, you know, I think the cat's out of the bag a little bit because of, you know, a couple websites jumped the gun. There's a really cool new variation of the 80-20.5 coming out that really, I think, checks the boxes for a lot more people. You might not like the price. You may not have an issue with it, but, you know, a lot of people complained that there was, you know, a pretty big jump between the $150 AUS 10A Grivery version and the, I guess the next one is the Titanium Smooth at $315. So they're coming out with something in between these that has G10, and instead of going from AUS 10A to 3V, you're going to an S35VN blade steel is what it looks like. I don't want to speak to it. I don't know anything from the inside. I've just seen some of the websites, you know, kind of post them as sold out, and I don't know if they're still up or not, but you know, they kind of jumped the gun before there was actual inventory for whatever reason. Maybe to drive traffic to the website or whatever. Maybe it's just an honest mistake. But that's going to be a kind of cool next thing that's coming out. I hear a lot of people talking about the AD22, which today is a custom only. Secondary market on that's insane. You're probably $2,500, more likely $3,000 to $3,500, but that's a 80-20.5 size with this kind of robust feel to it. And like, he's done a lot of those in like a fat carbon scale that are pretty awesome. And it's a slot only, no thumb stud. So that'll be pretty neat. I just, you know, by the time you're seeing this, I don't know when this is going to be released, but I did some content around the drop I won from DLT, where I got some Jade or natural G10 versions, kind of more of a new version of the AD20S. It's not a huge difference from what you're seeing here. And then you may have seen some of the M4 either Slicer, which is a new blade profile, or M4, what do they call it? Peanut shark foot, where it has the peanut hole only and no thumb stud. So they're doing some new stuff, which I love seeing. They're going to be bringing out, you know, opening a pretty significant factory, it sounds like. I don't know if the word's factory, but manufacturing location that should hopefully help them do a little more volume in the future. But yeah, their website is supposed to end up getting posted. You know, they have kind of a placeholder. Hopefully they'll have some more information about both the history and the future of Demko as it comes, but we don't need to turn this diatribe into another 1 hour video. If you want to know more about like what's available in Demko, aside from the only things I missed were kind of the 80-20 compact. I don't know if I talked about the 80-22 on that video. Oh, and I missed the serrated one, but I did a video on that. But there's an serrated 80-20.5. I'll pull out real quick because I think it's the only 80-20X that they've done serrated. There's a story that Andrew Demko wanted a serrated one, so they told him minimum order was 600, and so he ordered it so he can get one for himself and selling the other 599 off or something. Again, that's a story. I don't know if there's truth there, but that's always fun to hear fun stories like that. So let's turn it into legend. The other one, you know, he asked for one of these, and they did like I think 100 or 200 of the Timascus. A guy did it for himself out there in Taiwan, I guess, and then Demko wanted one, and I'm not sure that that's the same story about, hey, you need to do a minimum or whatever, but they did, you know, 100 or 200 of those. So there's some cool stuff these guys do here and there. I think all knife makers do a little bit of that kind of stuff, but I'd say the Demko's versions are a little more mysterious, a little hard to come by, and you know, there's certainly some out there that are as hot or maybe even hotter. I don't know if there's anything that's as hot, but the Oz, you know, the Oz Roosevelt, the Rosie, the brown knives are really hot right now. There's so many knives that are so hot right now, but you know, Demko's really right at the top. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm certainly excited to have done it and to have collected this little grouping here. I hope I didn't forget any. I'm pretty sure I found all the ones that I have, but I'll kick myself if I forgot one. This is nice and balanced though with 6 on each side, so that was not planned. So it's kind of cool that it worked out that way. I almost boxed that one up for the buyer too, and I would have been kicking myself if it had been 5 over there and 6 over here when it could have been 6 and 6. So now you're seeing into the extra quirkiness of how my mind works, and I should shut it down now before I completely lose all my subscribers. Just kidding. Appreciate you if you stuck to the end here. Please like, subscribe, comment. I'm sure there's information I missed about this, you know, series here of no slotted US-made Demkos. Love to hear more information about it. I learned from you just like you learned from me. So please let me know in the comment section if you have questions or thoughts that I may have missed. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.